Coach Collins is joining us now. Coach, thanks for stopping by.
All right. Glad to be here. How you guys doing?
Doing well. We'll go ahead and open up for questions for Coach.
Archie, what did you see out of AJ Woods on Saturday? This past week and getting a lot more playing time, obviously with Jason in there.
Well, I'll tell you what I saw from him is the person and the player that he has been all throughout fall camp, and he's gotten better throughout the year. But he showed a lot of great fundamental, a lot of great technique, and most importantly, he played while he's having fun playing. And he played with a lot of confidence. So it was encouraging to see that out of him. But I've seen that from him majority of the first half of the year as well as fall camp.
Archie, you mentioned having fun while playing. How much this obviously it can be a grind, especially this year with all the restrictions. How much do you try to tell these kids, like, hey, this is a game, go out there, make sure you have fun?
Well, I try to tell them that as much as I can because it is a game, and it is something that you want to have fun doing. These guys love the sport of football, but they got to show more excitement. They got to show more enjoyment, and you got to always have fun playing the game that you love. Anything you love, you got to have fun doing it.
Do you find the guys that are looser, they actually perform better when they're in that mindset?
Absolutely. The best place to be is not thinking, just playing. Therefore, it makes you have the ability to make more plays. Your mind's at ease. You're not thinking about what the checks are. You're not thinking about this. You just understand it's a game of football. Hear those checks, respond to those checks, and have fun playing them. So it's very important to be able to play with a lot of confidence and have, a lot of fun playing.
Archie, in July, you had a very experienced secondary with seniors and Paris as a junior with a lot of experience and a lot of accolades behind him. You went to Florida State and you're a lot younger. How did that change your approach, and were you surprised at all that your younger guys, where he picked it up for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, these guys, they've been unbelievable to be able to have coached these guys. These guys come to practice every day trying to get better. They're always competing throughout practice, so there always feels like they should be the guy. So I don't care where they are on the depth chart, they push and practice that way as their starter. And I tell you what, we've been lucky to have a lot of guys behind the actual starters from earlier in the year because they paid attention so much in film study, throughout practice, throughout game footage. They were very good in that department as well. So I wasn't too surprised. I don't know if that's what you were asking me, because I've been seeing it so much in practice, and I've been seeing how much they've been locked in a film study, even when they were not the starter. So it's encouraging to have guys like that inside of our room, because they know, as we talk throughout the year, that they never know when they're going to get their chance to get in there. And especially through the COVID and all that good stuff that we've had this year, they were even at more heightened awareness to be ready to go.
Where do you think Eric Howell will play the rest of the season? The corner, safety?
Well, I've talked about him before, and he's been a great player at both positions. So he's a guy which has the intelligence to play safety, but he's got the technical and fundamental wherewithal to play corner. So I thought he did a good job last week, at the corner position, and he's going to keep getting better at whatever position we put him in. We're going to try to play the best guy, put the best guys on the field, and that's really the goal.
Archie, how important is position flexibility among your group?
It's pretty important. I think that, again, like I talked about the COVID, we kind of cross-trained a few guys throughout the year in fall camp. So we were kind of preparing for the worst to happen. And then good things will happen from planning for the worst. But, I think it's important for guys to be able to, the guys that have the wherewithal to be able to do it, to go ahead and do it. Because, again, you never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to go down. And they've got to have an understanding to be able to fill that spot and play it with a lot of confidence.
Archie, which of your guys do you think is, done particularly well on special teams? And I know that's kind of a breeding ground for a lot of the younger guys to get the early reps in.
Yeah. Well, that's the first slide that we show after a game is how they graded out in special teams, because that's a very important. And like I said, our guys know that if you can't start on special teams, don't try to come start as a DB. So that's vital for it. But a lot of the young guys that are playing that position, I think Battle's been doing really well. The jammer, as well as some gunner stuff. We just got Royal in last week as well. And then Jell's been doing well the last few weeks on special teams as well. So we take that with a lot of pride, because that's an important piece of the whole game.
Archie, against Florida State, you guys were able to, you guys sustained a few blows early, but then you came back really strong, finishing throughout the game. What were some of those takeaways of where you saw improvement from your group there, and what are some of the things you're preaching to them this week? Trying to finish out the season strong.
Well, you started out finish strong. We talked about that a lot last week. You kind of was the motto last week, is really just finishing strong. We always talk about being understanding that life, not even football, is full of ups and downs. So it's not how everything is when you're on top of the mountain, but it's how you get up when you're faced with adversity. So we talk about that a lot in our room. Because we know every game is going to have its ups and its downs. So again, we're always trying to stay cool, stay relaxed, understand and handle adversity correctly. And that's really by just staying poised, staying confident, and never worrying, always understanding that the game's never over till the final zeros are on the clock.
Anything final? All good. All right, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Nice, quick, short one there, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good seeing all you guys. Have a great one.
You too.
Thank you, buddy.
The National Punter of the Week, Kirk Christodoulou, joined us.
How's everyone
We'll
doing?
go ahead. No questions for Kirk.
Kirk?
How you going?
Kirk, what's that mean to you whenever you hear that National Punter of the Week? Was that something you ever thought could happen when you came to Pitt?
It's something that I've strived towards, and it's a goal that I've had and we've had as a team. And I've been nominated a couple of times, so I think third time's a charm now. We've finally won one, which is great. I'm pretty happy with it.
Did you get like a big trophy or anything? Tim Tam, something?
No, plenty of thanks, plenty of, congratulations and comments and stuff from everyone around the building. It's been great, and family and friends reaching out, which has been nice. And, just trying to, take it in stride and not get a big head and just focus on the next week is probably my most important sort of deal with this.
Kirk, you pinned a few inside the 20. You had some ones that went over 50 yards. What's that reaction like when you get to the sideline after you put one deep and you help your team out there?
It's awesome. It's one of those things. It's like, that's why I'm out there. And, it's a combination of, Cal's been great and he's helped me out. Like, any success that I've had, I want to attribute a huge thank you to Cal. He's helped me out a lot. And the punt team, even Coach Powell as well, I think, he sort of goes unnoticed, but our punt team has changed its schemes and stuff a little bit. And the relationship that we've sort of developed now over the last few years, it's allowed us to sort of shift the way that our punt team has worked and will continue to work in the future. And that's also helped my success a lot. And I'm really thankful for just all the people we have to sort of make my life easier. And it's helped the whole team as well.
Kirk, in what aspect have you kind of grown? Maybe there's multiple from last year to this year to be able to become so consistent and really punt in, punt out. Do your job and do it well.
I'm gonna name drop Coach Doozy here. He was pretty tough on me last year. I'm not gonna lie. I got benched a few games, which no one wants to take time off from the game. Everyone wants to play all the time, and everyone thinks you're good enough. But that really did cause me to sort of reevaluate where I was at, where I thought I was at, where my skill level was at. And, it really did force me over the offseason to say, where do I want to be? Do I want to have, the head coach, stress with my performance, or should I just be someone that he doesn't have to worry about and he can trust that I'm going to go out and do my job? And having quarantine, it was, obviously not the greatest situation for that, but having to be still in Pittsburgh and work with Cal during the offseason and stay focused and ready and have that time to sort of, take the ownership of yourself. Like, I don't have a workout plan today. I don't have, the facility to go into. I need to be a professional and do this on my own time and make do. And that sort of helped transition that now when you have the facilities available and you're able to come back to football and have coaches and staff to help you and film. If you're able to do all of that by yourself, then when you have all the things that are there to benefit you, it just makes life easier. And I think that's been a really big benefit for this year as well.
During the quarantine period, you mentioned obviously not having the facility to go into, but you're with Cal. Did you guys go to you guys find like a park or a field? You might have mentioned it before. Did you go to Shenley a lot?
Yeah, up the top of the hill at Shenley. I think we had a couple of days, some locals fielding some punts for me, which was good fun. And, it was just, again, one of those things that we can't go up to the park and be distracted. It's like if we're going to go all the way up there and make the effort, to kick in front of, just the local families getting exercise, I've got to make sure that I stay locked in and get good work in and make myself better.
You said that the locals were fielding punts for you. Were you like asking people like, hey, do you mind catching some balls or what?
No, it was funny. Like, I have take a handful of balls out there and kick a set. And then after a while, there's the guys that have a soccer ball or something, and he's like, just runs down there and kicks a couple back. And then before you know it, you got a whole little system set up of, kids running and getting the left punts, and there's a guy running to get the right punts, and it was good fun.
Kirk, obviously, we see the intensity from Coach Narduzzi. What was that conversation like when he was telling you about you needing to improve?
It was tough. It's something that you don't necessarily ever want to hear. And it's something that I was almost in a state of denial. Like, I've never said this to him, so it's funny now bringing it up. But, it was what I needed. It was good coaching. And, again, like, it's hard to admit, but at the time, I needed that sort of kick in the bum just to get going and really, motivate me. And it has stayed to this point. Like, now I'm trying not to get too happy with my performance thus far. I've got 3 games to worry about, and that's what he has done. He's like, his focus and intensity of wanting me to be good has forced me to change my own perspective and how I see, what happened has happened now. I'm going to be thankful that we had a great game on the weekend, but we got 3 more, and last week doesn't really matter if I don't finish out strong. So that's more my concern from here moving forward.
Does Coach Powell sort of act as a buffer between you and Narduzzi? And is he like the good cop and Narduzzi's the bad cop?
Oh, not necessarily. No, they each have their own sort of role, and Coach Powell's taken a great like in my relationship with him has changed quite a lot this year, and just changing the punt itself into more of an Australian, like the rollout style has changed how we sort of operated, and there's a lot more input that I think I've been able to have, and a lot more sort of back and forth between the coaches that it's sort of Pal and I and Cal and the punt team itself, like Jake Zelinskas, we meet weekly, Brandon George comes in, and it's like having that communication with the punt team and the coach, it allows things to like sort of flow more smoothly. And if something's not liked by a guy on the punt team, then you can address it with the coach and see how we can adjust and change. And Coach Powell's been great with that, where if there's a certain kick that we like to do, how do you feel doing that, Kirk? And I'll say, yeah, great, or I prefer it when we do this, and it's just helped out a lot. It really has.
What's the advantage of the Australian rules rollout punt that you've been doing most of the season?
It just makes it a little bit more difficult, I think, for the coverage teams to sort of read what you're doing, because, if you've gone from being a spiral team, which we were, to now changing to, Kirk's rolling right and kicking it right, or rolling right, kicking it left, it allows me to have a bit of flexibility if I want to kick away from the return man. And it just makes things a little bit harder to sort of scheme up against us. So it allows like that when I do have the chance to kick a spiral, maybe I have a bit more time back there, a bit more space, or, like it makes Cal's life a little bit easier because he's not always blocking. And it's just like little adjustments here or there have added up to like great result, I think. So I'm really happy with it.
Kirk, how different is it being a student athlete as an undergrad, now being a student athlete going for an MBA?
It's a good difference. I've really enjoyed doing my master's level courses right now. You develop a relationship with the people in your class. It's funny. I never really understood how professional it was until my first class in the spring. And, normally rocking up to an undergrad class, you 2 minutes early, you got like a coffee in hand, and you quickly run in with sweats on. And then I get to my first graduate class, and everyone's in their suit and tie, notes out 10 minutes early. And I think, I better pick up my stuff here. So, and now it's been good, like making friends and developing relationships with people who have worked before and, really care about what they're doing, and they're paying like a lot of money for that. So I recognize that I'm blessed to even have the opportunity be doing these classes on scholarship. So, you know, just taking advantage of the full opportunity that the University of Pittsburgh has provided me has been the best thing.
So you
How long
wear
is the program,
you wear
Kirk?
suit and tie for these class, Kirk?
I don't know, but it's very daunting to see your students and classmates doing that. So, you know, I try and at least brush myself up a little bit and not look too shabby.
How long is that MBA program, Kirk?
So right now, roughly it'll take me a year and a half to 2 years. So I started in the spring and hope to graduate in the fall of next season. And I've actually been looking into a little bit now of whether I can add a Master's of Finance as well into my curriculum. I've taken doing finance in undergrad. It gave me like a lot of understanding that I could take my elective graduate classes in a more finance sort of specialized role. So, you know, I don't know exactly yet. It hasn't been confirmed, but if I can come away with 2 master's degrees and an undergrad, I think, you know, Pitt's looked after me really well, and hopefully I can look after them again next season.
Kirk,
What
when
are you
you're
gonna
in,
do with all that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, Jerry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Kirk, what are you going to do with all that education?
I'm not sure yet, to be honest. I'm just trying to take advantage really of what the Pitt is offering me. I think, you know, like student athletes, you know, there's a lot of talk about, you know, compensation and stuff like that. But as of right now, and the cards that we've been dealt as student athletes right now, like education is the one thing that they can guarantee us. And I figured why not take full advantage of what they can. And I've been lucky enough also to find a sort of curriculum path that I really enjoyed, and doing finance is something that I really love. So, you know, picking up an extra class here or there that may get me another master's, it's something that I'm not overly like worried about. It's just something that I realized, like, yeah, doing an extra set of advanced finance classes is going to be hard, but it's something that's going to be beneficial. So,
Kirk, have you looked at the game differently? Being in a class with older people that may have families, and then you get done with class and you go down to a football practice.
yeah, it's been different. I feel like it's interesting seeing all these collection of other backgrounds come together. Like in a lot of my MBA classes, there are other student athletes as well. So, you know, having them in there and able to speak to them, and they have similar experiences. And then also just people that are working and people that I aspire to be, you know, people that work for large companies that have great roles and now have taken the time to come back to school. It's, you know, I hope to be one of those people in the future that, you know, I'm trying to further my career through whatever means necessary. So it's really cool to be able to learn and sort of just communicate with these people in different stages of life. Because, you know, being around the football building, you meet great people and you have obviously great experiences, but it's not as much discussion of your corporate and professional life, which now being in the master's program has provided me that opportunity where I can, you know, ask questions and learn more from people who have really been in these situations and, you know, just have more real world experience than I would.
Do they ever ask you about football?
Oh yeah, all the time. They always ask me what happened there and here, and, you know, like what happened on the block punt. And it's just, you try and tell a funny story and make it at least enjoyable, not get too technical with what's going on.
Kirk, at some point, do you want to kick in the NFL?
Oh, I'd love to. That's, I mean, every boy's dream. You know, playing in a professional football setting, like I would love that. And hopefully like that can work out, and next year we'll see how the season goes. But right now I've got to sort of try and avoid that thought and just stay focused and go game to game. You know, like I said earlier, last game was only as good as last game was, and that doesn't mean anything for this week. So whether my hopes and dreams are to play in the league or do whatever, I've just got to worry about next week. And that's how I'm going to try and stay for the remainder of my time here at Pitt.
Kirk, it feels like specialists, like that fraternity is like it's closer than most other positions, I guess. During the quarantine, were you talking with other punters like throughout the conference or throughout the country, or like punting coaches, kicking coaches, like, you know, guys outside, I guess, the Pitt football, you know, kind of community?
Yeah. What's been really nice, I've been really blessed as well, is through the Pro Kick Australia program that I went through to get over here to Pitt and get my scholarship. It's almost developed a fraternity of other punters in the country that have played and are also Australian, have gone through the same thing that I've gone through. So actually, funnily enough, the Florida State punter, Mastromano, went through Pro Kick as well, and I was talking to him pre-game and post-game, and I've actually been communicating with him since. And it's just nice to have that ability to, you know, talk to someone who's in pretty much the similar shoes to you. Like, it's very easy to say, oh, you know, he's an Aussie punter and he was this star rated and whatever, and he comes in. But actually going through it and having experience and having, you know, a couple of bad games here and a couple of good games, you sort of trial by fire. So having those guys that have done it before or guys who are about to do it, and sort of that whole discussion between what's going on and how are you guys approaching quarantine, how are you guys, training, how are you guys staying fit. And again, lucky enough that in that group we have, like the Steelers punter, Jordan Berry, like Mitch Wishnowski, who's the 49ers punter, like some of Pro Kick's best athletes that we've had are just only a text message away, which is just great for some of the younger guys and the future of, Pro Kick Australians in college football and in the NFL.
You miss rules of football, Kirk?
A little bit, yeah. I try to make an effort to watch it where I can. There's actually our Super Bowl, so the grand final was on a couple of weeks ago, and I made an effort to turn my phone off, airplane mode, and just wait so I could watch the score on a replay live. I didn't want anyone to spoil it for me, so I think after the game a couple of weeks ago, I think it was me, Kess, and a couple of the other boys sat down and watched it, and it's been fun sort of teaching the other boys. I think Kess now is the only one who truly understands the game and knows what's going on. But otherwise, everyone's just looking at me screaming at the TV for something they don't understand, which is pretty funny.
Would you like to play it again someday?
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome as well. I'd love to do that. I don't think I can run like that anymore. I think I've gotten used to the punter life a little bit too much, sitting around and kicking a couple of balls, and that call it a day.
Well, during the pandemic, when it started in March, I assume you didn't get a chance to go home?
No, I didn't get. So the last time I was home was in January, just over the Christmas break, and yeah, I've been in the US since, which it's been good. I've been really lucky to have such a good support system developed around here with Cal, with other footballers, and then even my girlfriend's from Pittsburgh, and she's been great. Just helping out and creating Pittsburgh as like sort of my second home now. I don't really necessarily feel like I've been away from home for so long, because I sort of feel like this is my home now, and Pittsburgh's been great in that sense.
What's the best thing about Pittsburgh besides the university?
Sorry, what was that question? Can you repeat?
What's the best thing about Pittsburgh?
Oh,
I
think the people.
I say Pitt, but maybe something else.
I would love to say the people, to be honest. Just I can't begin to tell you how lucky I've been here, and the friends that I have. Right now I live in a house with 5 of my best friends. Like they're all footballers, and it's just an experience that no one could ever compare to. And again, I don't want to gloat or anything like that, but I just have loved the people I've met and the relationships I've formed. Like, these are going to be my friends for life, and the people here and the experiences that we've shared. People, are so eager to get to the NFL and the next level and move on, and college is such a grind. But it's one of those things, like, I'll look back at workouts I did 3 years ago and remember, throwing up in the morning. And right now that's a fond memory. And like, that is one of the best memories I've got from being here. But at the time it was awful. And it was like, it's just one of those things that when you go through the trials and tribulations and the stresses of a season and developing all those bonds with your teammates, like, there are things that can never separate us in here, because we go through all this together. And that's just like how we pulled together on the weekend, coming off a couple of game losing streak. It's always tough to come back, but having the team stick together and just, grind out a hard team win, everyone did their job, and that's what we play for. That's what we do all this work for, is for experiences like that.
Kirk,
Anything final? Go ahead, John. Last one.
Yeah, thanks. Who all lives in that house? Is it you, Cal, and who else?
No, so it's me, Kess, Kenny, Carson Van Lin, and Garrett Bickart. So one player from pretty much every position. Is pretty cool.
Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Awesome conversation.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kirk. Appreciate it.
Kirk, appreciate it, man.
And that'll wrap us up for the day. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow for Coach Narduzzi.
Thanks, RJ.
Have a good one.
Thank you.